live in Emporium in the Philippines. I want to say magandang umaga ho sa inyong lahat, and for the people in the US watching this live at the Emporium, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to at least check it out. Check us out. Emporium is a unique US based, the first of its kind. Okay, the first of its kind. It's a Philippine-made and inspired product showroom and global business center. And its purpose is to create awareness as well as sales opportunities for Philippine-made products, services, and investments in the US market. And Emporium is actually a physical place. Like I said, that's where I'm at right now. It's located at 3250 Wilshire Boulevard, number 602 in Los Angeles, California. So if you want to come and visit, please do so. We welcome you. Just go ahead and let us know when you're coming. Thank you. But what the Live Emporium is, this is one of the tools that we use to create the awareness, the sales opportunities by people watching, and hopefully organically, or what we're doing on social media is reaching other people. And I think it is. At the end of the day, what we want is that awareness creation. Okay, so that's what Live at the Emporium is. And today it is packed full of amazing stuff. Hello, everyone. You are about to watch what I'd like to think is informative, possibly even life-changing, but at the least thought-provoking. And I'm referring to the show that you're about to watch. It's called Live at the Emporium Special Edition, and the title is called Retire in Style with Espy. And as you know, Emporium is about trying to create awareness and sales opportunities for Philippine-made products, services, and investments in the U.S. market. And with that being said, this is one of the tools that we use, which is Live at the Emporium, and also the collaboration that we've created with the show that you're about to watch and its host. The host is very informative, the host is very knowledgeable, and the host is very personable. And she sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, most of the time, she's coming up with different ways to really create this awareness or something that you want to think about when it comes to possibly retiring in the Philippines and investing in the Philippines, as well as anybody in the Philippines who wants to take advantage of also how to invest in the real estate market in the U.S. market. So with that being said, stay tuned and be truly educated and hopefully also entertained. Here's Espy.
It's a beautiful day, no worries today. Cool breeze outside my window. This is the life. You're set for life. Just loving life. Retire in style with Espy.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, here in United States, or no, actually in California. It's 7 o'clock here in the West Coast, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning of Thursday or Friday. Is it Friday in the Philippines? So Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat, Pilipinas. And good evening to all my friends and family here in Facebook. Thank you for joining us. And tonight, I have some special guests, and we have a great topic. A lot of us, the Filipino Americans here in United States and all over the all over the world, are really concerned about our topic tonight. It is really a hot topic because of the amnesty that we do have. So, with that, can I have my slide, Ferdy? Yeah, so I've been talking about retiring in style for almost 10 years now. And one of the thing that we do is one of the suggestions I have is owning and investing in the Philippines by leveraging on your real estate assets in US. So right now, most of us have a lot of equity in our homes, but there are different ways of leveraging on that. You don't want to just let it sit there. Now, if you have extra assets and you don't have a problem with cash flow, then that's fine. You can just leave your equity there. Or if you're interested on investing and diversification of real estate, whether here in the United States or in the Philippines, then there are different ways. So next page, please. So there is that extrajudicial partition that is really a high sounding word right now that most of the Filipinos here in United States are getting to be more and more familiar with. And the Amnesty Act, the Tax Amnesty Act, that is an RA, it's called RA 11213. So especially for those, if you have inherited properties from deceased donor, whether your family, friends, or relatives, and that you cannot transfer it to your name due to unpaid taxes. And then there is a way, the Amnesty Act, the Amnesty Act can help you. Okay, so what is the Tax Amnesty Act? Can I have the next page, please? So RA 11213 was a Republic Act that was signed by our past President Duterte on February 14, 2019. This grants taxpayers a one-time opportunity to settle their tax obligations through an estate amnesty program that gives reasonable tax relief to estates with outstanding estate tax liabilities. So ito yung mga namana natin sa lola, sa mga lolo-lolo natin, sa mga magulang natin who passed on and they did not have a will. So now, for us to be able to use it, it has to go now to the present heirs who are the live heirs, as we call it. Okay, so next page, please, Ferdy. So the Republic Act, saying this, it's a measure that would allow those whose estate taxes have remained unpaid or have accrued as of May 31, 2022 to avail of the amnesty program until June 14, 2025, and an extension from the original deadline of June 14, 2023. So actually, last June, this Tax Amnesty Act has already expired, but the Senate approved a Senate Tax Bill 2219 that can extend this Tax Amnesty Act for another 2 years until June 14, 2025. Okay? So this relief would only cover the estate of those who died on or before May 31 of 2022. So if the deceased passed on May 31, 2022, which is last year, and earlier, then you can avail of this Tax Amnesty Act. The executor or administrator of the estate who would avail of the amnesty program can make the necessary filings either electronically or manually. Or if you have a realtor or a lawyer locally in the Philippines who understands this process, because not all of them understands this, okay, who can understand this process, you can also ask them to help you out, okay, because it is a very intricate process. The legal heirs, transferees, and beneficiaries can, of course, actually um, do it themselves. You know, if you don't have executor or administrator that you have appointed, you can also do it on your own. Go to the Philippines and do it. Maybe stay there for 6 months or so until it's all done. And that way, you can use the properties and assets that you inherit from the deceased relatives. Okay, so that's pretty much what I would like to share tonight. And next page, please. So there are different ways to leverage your present asset to retire in style. A few of them I'm mentioning here: downsizing, where you sell your bigger, older home, you know, for those empty nesters, and then you can buy a smaller, suitable one, and then the remaining equity that you have, you can use as a leverage by investing it, whether here in California, in United States, or also in the Philippines, buying a second home or an investment property. Okay. Another way is a reverse mortgage. It is a process for people who are 62 and over. You know, you can get a reverse mortgage, and that would increase the cash flow and eliminate your mortgage payments until you move out of your home. Okay. And the last one is the common one, which is the equity loan. The equity loan, you get some equity from your home by, there's equity lines that the banks are offering now. Different lenders are offering that right now because we don't want to let go and refinance our original loan, because our first loan right now we're enjoying the low interest rates, right? So with that, you know, you can use your equity to invest here again, or you can improve your home, or you can use it as a cash flow when you are already retired and you need an additional cash flow for your care and for retiring style, right? Okay, so next page, please. So, okay, so these are just a few that I want to mention because we have a big topic tonight, and I have really good guests that I have been that I know for years and years. And if you need to contact me and reach out to me, you know, I still have. You can get my contact here. You can take a picture of this, a snapshot, or you can always watch the recording of our live stream. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Ferdy, and so I would like to introduce our guest tonight. Can I have the first page of Jean and Don? Hi, Don and Jean. I know they are in the Philippines. Uh, Jean is my sis from college, and Don is her loving and supportive husband. So I would like to introduce them first right now. Can you show me the first page of their background? So they're going to be talking about the real estate titling in the Philippines. They're the experts. Okay, so they both own the Donata Land Developer, and they're developers in the Philippines, and they also do a lot of real estate services. So Attorney Don Pedro Lee is a practicing lawyer. He has his own practice. He's a founding partner of Sue Gutierrez, Leogardo, and Lee Law Offices in Macari, and he is a legal consultant, okay, and everything else. Of course, you know how Filipino husbands are. They're very, very supportive and helpful to their sweet wife. And of course, my sis and my friend for a long, long time, um, Virginia and Lee. I call her Jean. And she is a licensed real estate broker and a certified public accountant. She worked as a controller for a big real estate broker in the Philippines for more than 15 years. And then after that, she became an independent real estate broker. That was about 1985. And she had been an accredited broker of big and medium sized developers in the Philippines. So for now, we're going to take a break for a little ad, and then after that, we're gonna go listen to Jean and Don present the first topic that we have about the purchase. Don, can we have a little thing there for? Yep. So a little blurb about Ayala is one of my sponsors, also for next week's live face-to-face real estate expo. That is our first real estate expo that we're gonna do here in LA. So right now, Jean is going to be presenting the first portion of their topic. Jean, take it away.
Yeah, first of all, uh, in the Philippines, no, the ultimate proof of property ownership is a title. So in the slides, there are two photos of the titles, no? And these
Mm-hmm.
are shortly known as TCT for land and CCT for a condominium. So, so there are three modes of, actually there are four modes of acquisition, no? How to acquire real property in the Philippines. First is by purchase or sale, which is to be covered by a deed of absolute sale. And number two is by inheritance. Number three is gift, by gift or donation. And number four is adverse possession. So, maybe you talk on the adverse possession.
Well, okay. First of all, I'm not very fond of initials. So she said TCT and CCT. That means transfer certificate of title for land, and CCT is condominium certificate of title for, of course, condominiums. We put up four means of acquiring property in the Philippines, but that's not actually accurate because there are more. But for our purposes today, which is somewhat limited by our topic, titling of property, the four that she presented, that my wife presented, are fine, no? Because this is anyway, this is not a class. So let's confine ourselves to purchase, donation, inheritance, and adverse possession. Yun yung prescription. Medyo madugo yan, no? We don't talk about it here now because it's not really that relevant and popular. Anyway, this is a very interesting topic because the term property and what it entails is a great equalizer for people. Because of property, not so beautiful people become beautiful and pretty to the eyes of others. Property is also sometimes called mitsa ng pamilya at ng pagkakaibigan to Filipinos. That means it's becomes a source of breaking up because property leads people to dislike other people, especially when they're fighting for possession and or ownership. Okay, so go back to your sale now.
Okay, so for the first mode of acquisition, it's the popular one, the uh, sale, no? Ba nandiyan na ba tayo sa inheritance? Can we go back to the
Two
sale?
slides.
First, you have to pay the taxes so, to the BIR, no? You have to pay the capital gains tax.
Back.
Ah,
We have to move back. We're so much forward already.
One more slide back.
In case of sale, before we can get the title, you have to pay the capital gains tax to the BIR,
Bureau of Internal
which
Revenue.
is the Bureau of Internal Revenue, popularly known as BIR.
I think you guys there know it as IRS.
Okay. So, what do you pay? You pay the capital gains tax, which is 6% of the selling price or zonal value or value in the tax declaration, which is provided by the municipal office assessor's office. So whichever is higher of the three enumerated above. And that's paid by the seller. And the buyer also takes care of the documentary stamps, which is 1.5% of the same value used in the computation of the capital gains tax. But of course, this depends on the agreement of by the buyer and the seller. But in the Philippines, the practice is that it is usually shouldered by the buyer. So maybe, and then the next
Next slide,
tax,
please.
the next tax that is has to be paid is the transfer tax, which is usually 1/2 or 3/4 of 1%, no, of the same amount used in the capital gains tax. But
It's paid to the city treasurer
it's
or
paid to
municipal
the
treasurer.
city or municipal treasurer. And then the third one is paid to the register of deeds. No, that's the transfer and registration of the title. Okay. So next slide.
The
sir.
quantum of this tax is based on
There's a graduated table in the register of deeds. So now we go to the inheritance, no, from a deceased person to the heirs. There are two ways of transferring real estate from a deceased person to heirs. Maybe you can talk about the first one to the court.
well, the first one is judicial transfer of the estate. This is uh, utilized when there's a will. You have to probate the will. And the second reason why you go through judicial settlement of estate is if the heirs do not see eye to eye, all of them, meaning to say there's some disagreement somewhere, and they want to leave it out to the court to decide on how to go about dividing the property and transferring it to them. Okay.
Okay, next slide.
The next means of transferring is by
Dun sa inheritance.
inheritance. Correct.
So who gets the properties, no? Who gets the properties of the deceased person? So this is the, ano yung tawag dyan? Is the schedule. First, let's look at the who survived, no? The deceased person. So if if the only survivor is is the spouse, and there are no children, the surviving spouse gets everything.
No
And
children and no ascendants.
No children, no ascendants, means no parents, no. And if only the children are left, the children get everything, that to be shared equally. But if the spouse and legitimate children, state is divided equally among the children and the surviving spouse. Okay, surviving spouse and illegitimate children, half will go to the surviving spouse and half to the illegitimate children. But if there are legitimate and illegitimate children, all will be heirs, but an illegitimate child will get half of the share of a legitimate child. Okay? If parents of the decedent and legitimate children are the heirs, children get everything. But if parents and only illegitimate children, half to the parents and half to the illegitimate children. But if there is a surviving spouse and parents, half will go to the surviving spouse and half to the parents. Okay? If uh, if there are if the parents are still alive and there are siblings of the
Brothers and
decedent,
sisters.
brothers and sisters, everything will go to the parents. But if there is a surviving spouse and siblings of the decedent, half to the surviving spouse and half to the siblings.
Okay, I think the rule of thumb that you can use here is this. The spouse will be part of the division in any case. So pag yung surviving spouse ka, you will get something. If there are children, the children will eliminate entitlement to the parents. So meaning descendants will negate a sharing for the parents. Now, if there are no children, the ascendants will inherit from the deceased. Both the descendants and ascendants will negate a share to siblings. So, ang magkakapatid, ang kapatid ay hindi magmamana kapag ka may anak o kapag kabuhay pa yung magulang. That's it, no? So, in the absence of children, spouse, and parents or ascendants, that's the only time that siblings of the deceased will inherit from him. It only sounds complicated, but in real terms, you can really simplify it. Tandaan mo lang yung mga unang sinabi namin.
Yeah.
Ayun, that it.
Well, ito yung tinatawag nating masalimuot, right? It can be a little complicated, because especially for PhilAms who are here in United States or outside of the Philippines, and then they have co-heirs that are in the Philippines, sometimes there's a lot of confusion as to how the beneficiary is going to be um, counted or calculated, right? So this is the time that you really need a lawyer or a real estate broker who really knows the laws there in the Philippines. That way you don't make mistake. Because one thing is when you make a mistake on your filing in the Philippines, it's already long the way it is, but to correct it, it can be even longer. Okay. So as I say to my guests and my family guests and my clients, it's always good to know first, and it is your responsibility as an heir or as an owner to know how you're going to really take care of the titling of your property, protect your property, and aim on really who you want your property um, to benefit whatever you have, whether you're still alive or you're already deceased. It is your responsibility to take care of that portion. So if you're not knowledgeable, then you find somebody who's knowledgeable to do it for you. Okay. So I know it's good to search the internet, but the laws change and it's different when you're in the boots in the ground in the Philippines. There's a lot of intricacies on getting things done there. So, Don, I know he is our very generous attorney that gives us a lot of advice. And also for our clients that we are working with for years and years. Um, what can you advise our clients here? If they have any questions, maybe there are certain things that you would like to pinpoint with regards to this particular topic, this slide. So, based on your experience for the last 5 years or more, that you have been doing extrajudicial a lot more and became expert of the extrajudicial partition in the Philippines. Can you give us a little bit more insight on this between you and Jean?
Well, first of all, there's a term on the first part of this page, the term forced heirs. I don't think that's very popular in the United States.
Yeah,
But here in
this
the
is what you
Philippines,
call, whether you
it's
like
a
it or
big
not, you're here. Yeah.
it's a big deal here in the Philippines because these forced heirs are forced even on the person who died. Whether the person who died it or not, these heirs are going to inherit because by law, forced heirs are entitled to a thing that is called a legitim, which is a specific portion of the estate of the deceased, which you have to give the forced heirs. They cannot
Mm-hmm.
be eliminated from the partition because if you do that, then the partition of the estate becomes invalidated because they have to inherit by law. The forced heirs are the following. Number one, the spouse. Number two, the children, whether legitimate or illegitimate. Number three, in absence of descendants, the ascendants, the parents. So itigil na natin doon, but beyond that, the siblings are coming to the picture. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot not give these people a part of your estate. You have to give them a part of the estate. Okay?
So that's the reason why we have a part of the extrajudicial. One step is the publication, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because if you eliminate these people from your estate, they have right to run after their portion. They
yeah.
can invalidate a will, they can invalidate a partition if they are not included. Okay?
Mm-hmm. That's good. How about you, Sis? I know I invited our brothers
That,
here
that is why,
to listen to us. Okay, go ahead.
senior, senior,
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
senior, senior. We
Go
can,
ahead, Jean.
so I thought
Okay.
somebody said speak of extra.
Okay, we need to take a break for now, and after this, is going to go to the next part of the inheritance, the next portion. Okay, so um, Ferdy, let's take a break for an ad.
Putting its clients
For our
first and at the center of everything. Introducing the Philippine National Bank. Established as a government bank in 1916, which became fully privatized in 2007, PNB has been an instrument of economic development to this day, delivering customer-centric solutions to businesses and retail clients. PNB as a commercial bank is engaged in diversified banking activities such as deposit taking, lending, bills discounting, trade finance, foreign exchange dealings, fund transfers, remittance servicing, asset management, a full range of retail banking and trust services, and treasury operations. Internationally, PNB maintains its position as the bank with the largest global footprint with branches, representative offices, remittance centers, and subsidiaries located in Asia, Europe, Middle East, and North America. The bank continues to take lead in the overseas remittance business scene with remittance centers, agents, and tie-ups in the United States, Canada, London, France, Italy, Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, and the Middle East countries. Backed by a legacy of service excellence, PNB is poised to move forward to become a more dynamic, innovative, and customer-focused bank. A dependable financial partner that offers stability and security for Filipinos all over the world. Masasandaan kahit saan, kahit kailan. You want to know more? Visit www.pnb.com.ph for more information.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that. You know, PNB is one of our sponsors for next week's first real estate expo that I'm putting together at the office of the Philippine the Trade and Investment Office in Wilshire. So we're going to have our first face-to-face in-person expo, and our sponsors are going to be there, Ayala Land and PNB. We're going to be talking more about this kind of topics. You know, even the reverse mortgage. I'll have a reverse mortgage lender who's going to be presenting there. If not, I can. You know, I can do that for you. So we would like to invite you next week on August 24, and it's going to be at the 3950 Wilshire Boulevard. Actually, that's not 399, it's 3250 Wilshire Boulevard. Suite 602, and we have parking validation, but you need to RSVP. So we're going to be sending you additional information on that, or you can reach out to me. I really appreciate all those viewers that we have. Hazel is here from Ayala. Thank you, Hazel, for being good support. And also Rhea Ivy Villa Hermosa. I love that name. Thank you for being a fan of Emporium. Yes, we try to inform you, educate you, and share some information that you can use now or later. So it's all recorded. You can always go to YouTube channel of Emporium and reach out to us. We can always give you more information than what we are giving here. So tonight we are going to have additional information with, of course, our speakers here. Jean and Don is going to be continuing their presentation on the inheritance. So I think it's the next page now.
Shall we go?
Yeah.
So these
Ah.
are the documents you when you file the extrajudicial partition with the
Mhm.
BIR. It has to be accompanied by a certified copy of the death certificate.
Oh, Jean, wait a
And
minute. I just want to make sure. The extrajudicial partition, I didn't mention it earlier, but
yeah,
extrajudicial partition is a process when somebody dies and they don't have a will. Is that correct?
yes, it was
Okay.
discussed already a while
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are they have to prepare an
No
ex.
will, no
Um,
will, and no disagreement. Meaning to say the heirs all see eye to eye on everything.
Yeah.
Yes, because if that doesn't work, it
they
will
will
have to be a judicial settlement
Yes. You
so
have to go to court.
to intervene. Yes.
yeah, and also because all the heirs have to sign on the extrajudicial settlement,
Mm.
or if they are not available, they can appoint an
Attorney in fact.
attorney in fact. Okay, so these are the documents that they need to file with with the deed of extrajudicial settlement. No, certified copy of the death certificate, marriage certificate, no,
Marriage.
marriage certificate, if predeceased by the spouse, both marriage certificate and death certificate of the deceased spouse, and then birth certificate of children to show that they are heirs, no? Because in the birth certificate, the names of the parents are there. And then valid government issued ID of the heirs, present ID, certified copy of the title of properties involved, certified copy of tax declaration at the time of death and present. No? This is for all properties. And of course, payment of real estate taxes. It has to be updated. And an affidavit of publication, uh, which is to be published in
For
the
2 years,
newspaper
no?
circulation for 3 consecutive weeks. So
Ah, okay.
those documents are to be uh, filed, no? When you file the extrajudicial settlement.
We have a question. Can I ask a question for them?
Yes,
So, if a client sells a condo property, the owner needs to also settle 12% VAT if the unit has been rented out. What will be the base of the computation and the TCP, or just the rental amount the property has rented out for? Yeah, here. It's it's uh it's printed here, Jean.
is presented based on the computation. Is the rental
Can you read that?
it says
Client sells a condominium property. This has nothing to do with inheritance.
uh-huh. This is selling. If the client sells a condo property, owners to also settle 12% VAT if unit has been rented out.
Is that I
And
think that's the question. If they have to settle a 12% VAT
the
if the
the
unit has
the
been rented.
the, the tax will be computed on the total cost of the
Mm-hmm.
property. The agreement was the selling price,
Mm-hmm.
not the rental
Okay.
amount. The selling price of the property. If the owner wants to include the VAT, um, they can include it and becomes part of the contract price.
That can be part of the terms. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then what will be the base of the computation? So I think they answered that, no? So,
The base is the selling price.
okay. So the TCP or just the
Sorry, it's the
rental
selling
amount.
price.
Mhm. And then
You
she
are selling
says,
the property. You have to
yeah,
speak agreement on what is the selling price.
uh-huh, okay.
Um,
So unless,
excuse me,
what is,
SP. May I
yeah, mm-hmm,
may I interject something? We can
yeah,
discuss this off the air because this is taking up a lot of your time.
okay, okay.
It's off
So
topic.
Secures
yeah,
certificate.
it's not within the topic that we have, no?
Case. Admit contract selling. It's a selling on installment. It's not an announcement.
Okay, go on.
At so, ano na sa tapos na tayo, no?
Yes, you
We're
can go
through.
to the
So,
next
Yeah.
we
slide.
go to the
Oh,
taxes to be paid.
okay. This one is another big topic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same, similar to the taxes being paid, no? When you sell a property, you have to pay the estate tax to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, which again is at 6% of zonal value or value tax declaration at the time of death,
Whichever side.
whichever is higher. Okay? And to the again to the city treasurer, municipal treasurer, the transfer tax. The basis is the same, which is 1/4 or 3/4 of 1%, depending on the city or municipality. They have different rates, no? But here, there's a 25% surcharge because the transfer tax has to be paid, I think, within 60 days from the transfer of the title. And if you don't pay, it incurs interest at 2% per month in case of late payment, no, of the transfer tax, up to maximum of 3 years or 72%. Okay, and then you pay again the registration fees for the transfer of title on the value in the tax declaration at the time of death. And there is a formula. They have to include they divide it between uh, the value at the time of death and the present value. No, they have a tawag yan,
Yeah.
formula in the
There must
register
be
of
a
deeds.
formula on that, right? Yeah. Yeah. And it can be, can it be a case to case basis too, right? Depending on,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
they have a formula. It's cheaper than the deed of sale.
mhm. All right. Okay. So, what about the next one? To the register of deeds.
That's it. They have a the it's based on the value in the tax declaration at the
Mhm.
time of death, and uh, also they also take consideration the present value
Mhm.
of the property. They also have a formula on that, the
Scheduler.
registered
It's
deed.
scheduler.
Scheduler.
All right, can we go to the next
That's
slide?
the next step.
Yeah. Oh, this one.
Another.
Gift
Here's
or
another
donation. A lot of people are
mode
thinking that gift or
property,
donation is free.
which is
No.
yeah, the gift or donation. You have to prepare uh, a deed of donation. No, that's a document. The donee has to accept
Yes.
the donation, and then you have to pay the donor's tax again. But this is based on zonal value of the present zonal value, no, at the time of the donation. 6%. No, sorry. This is the donation is based only on zonal value of property being donated, no, at 6%. And to be deducted is 250,000 from the first donation during the year.
Mhm.
And you have to pay the documentary stamps, which is based on the same basis as the donor's tax, except that there's no deduction of 250,000. The rate of the documentary stamp is again 1.5%.
1.5% of the value, zonal value.
Of the
Zonal
zonal value
Yeah.
of
1.5%
the
of the
property.
zonal value.
Uh, in
Usually, the
a,
zonal value is not the same as the purchase price, right, or the market value. Usually, zonal value is lower.
yeah, that's there. The zonal value is prescribed by the BIR. You can get it from the BIR website.
Yeah, that's the one that we see when we search zonal values in the BIR. That's the number that you use. So I have a question,
Yeah,
Jean. So gift or donation, some people have the notion that they don't want to deal with the property. They don't want to, they don't. They think that they don't have to pay tax. So there is a tax that you are going to pay. Now, what about if you are just giving or relinquishing, or what is it that we had before that you said exchange, or not gift or donation, but another one, when we do an exchange, or if I'm going to release my interest on the title, would there be would there be
you
tax involved there?
have to pay the tax. Yes,
So
you
let's
have to
say
pay
lima
the
kaming magkakapatid. There's five of us, and then two of the siblings live here in the Philippines, in the United States, and they say, oh, you know what, we don't want to have anything to do with it. We'll just
yeah,
release our interest in that title. So when they do the extrajudicial, they still have to pay tax, right? There's still a tax involved there when they release
yeah.
the interest. Is that correct?
You have to settle the extrajudicial first, the judicial settlement. But you can include in the deed of extrajudicial settlement a waiver on their share of the
Right.
property,
Which is effective donation.
which is, yeah, effectively a donation, and they have to pay the donor's tax on their share of the property. Like if you
Just a
are
share. That's
five, and
yeah, yeah,
only on their share of the
yeah.
property
Okay,
that they
okay.
are donating or waiving to the
Mhm.
siblings to the Philippines.
Okay.
In
Yeah,
some
that,
cases, in some cases, however, the person doing the waiver or donation, normally the one living in the United States, sometimes they're not made to pay anymore because the people receiving the donation here can cover whatever it is they're paying, considering that they're receiving something bigger. So that depends on them already.
On their agreement.
okay.
But
Yeah, yeah.
technically, yung donor should be doing the paying.
But Uncle BIR is still there. He wants a piece of that, right?
The
Of course.
BAR, you
Still have
pay
to
the donor
pay.
tax to the BIR, Bureau of Internal Revenue,
Right, right, right. Yeah.
and the
BIR.
documentary
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
you
That
can
that's
transfer the title unless you pay that.
Yeah. You're right,
Mhm.
SP. They get a bite of everything. The
Yeah,
only
yeah,
sure thing in this world, the
they
only
want their
sure thing in
share.
this world are debt and taxes.
That's right. Okay. So, what is the next topic we have?
Ano
Is it
susunod na?
oh, okay. So we have the Q&A now. Well, we have one question here with regards to it's tied to an extrajudicial. So can you post that for the last question of Hazel? If the property is on installment, would a contract to sell suffice to provide as an inclusion of the said property to the extrajudicial? So let's say they're buying a
Ah,
condo and it's in installment. Tamatay ngayon yung may-ari. Paano yun? Yung nagda-down payment, yung
well,
the one. Hmm?
property would still be the property would still be included.
Yes.
They will only be participating on whatever is paid.
It's already paid.
Yes, and the
Ah,
obligation becomes joint for the payment of the next.
Yeah. Okay.
mhm. Okay.
Yeah, joint
So
obligation.
you don't need the contract because you're still going to be presented with some sort of a document transferring ownership or provisionally reserving it for you. Yun ang isasama mo. If that is the installment contract, then so be it. There's a description of the property. You will determine therefrom whatever has been paid and whatever is outstanding.
Mhm.
Pero sama pa rin yun, kasama pa rin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a question there. What government agency is responsible for overseeing managing real estate titling in the Philippines? Is the Register of Deeds, no, which has jurisdiction on the property uh, which is being transferred. No, Register of Deeds. There
Mhm.
are many Register of Deeds in the provinces, no, in different areas in the Philippines.
Actually, on cities, municipalities, and they also have the land registration of
Oh, there is a continuation on her question. Ferdy, can you say there here? But some lawyers ask for a copy of the title already,
Oh, some
while the
lawyer.
property is still on a contract to sell. Will the contract to sell suffice to provide the lawyer facilitating the EJS?
No, when still a contract to sell, there's no title.
there can be no
It has
title.
to be fully paid before a title
It's issued.
is issued. Because you have to pay the capital gains tax, etc. So you cannot have the title unless the property is fully paid.
Yeah.
So
So
yes,
that's
the contract to
that
sell
is
should
the
suffice.
concern that she has because there's some lawyer who is asking copy of the title already. When it's still under
Change your lawyer.
The
installment. So
developer, um,
so
the
that's why you have to
developer
look
want
for the lawyer who knows what to do.
the title.
I'm sorry. I'm just being I'm just trying to put
It's fine.
some humor here because it can be frustrating, when you are helping some people, here in the United States, and then you are dealing with some people over there, and they claim to be professionals, and they're asking papers that are not really the right one. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why it's important that
Land
you really
registration.
deal with people who knows what they're doing. Yeah. Okay. So because otherwise it's going to facilitate it. There's going to be a lot of facilitation expense that we call just to get it done. You know. Jean,
Yeah.
we're losing you. We cannot hear what you're saying now. Okay, so um, I just want uh,
Okay.
to say hello to
There
those
is another.
people who are joining us
There's
today.
another.
Um, Remember that this is all recorded. You can always get a recording of this if you need to find more information about all the other topics that we have talked about and you came in a little late. you can always get a recording. So Herminia Jumao asks, thank you for watching us. I hope that you can be one of our followers. We have in-person, face-to-face real estate expo next week on August 24th in LA at the office of the Philippine Trade and Investment Office. 3250, not 3299, but 3250 Wilshire Boulevard, Suite 602 in Los Angeles next week, 7:30 to 5 to 7 no 5:30 to 7:30. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you, Anne. Yeah, Anne is another friend of mine who is very, very knowledgeable in real estate, especially on transitioning seniors, and she's based in San Jose. And actually, they have a trade mission. She is the president right now of FARIPA, Philippine Real Estate and Professionals in Silicon Valley. They're having a trade mission for realtors and professionals on November 2 to 12. So you can reach out to me if you want more information about that. It's a great way of getting to know the different developments there in the Philippines. And I always say, retire in style. One option is to go invest and buy in the Philippines, but make sure you know what you're getting into first. Make your research, um, go there and visit, look at the different developments, ask people who are very involved. You can always reach out to me. I've been going back and forth in the Philippines for the last, 23 years and meeting different developers. And of course, like Jean and Don have been working with me. They are leaders in their community. They're also leaders with Couples for Christ in the Philippines, and so they are very reputable and very knowledgeable. Plus, they're well vetted. So I want to thank everyone here. If you have more questions, you can always reach out to me. Uh, Don and Jean are always reachable through me, and again, we're having that face to face. Yeah, thank you, Hazel from Ayala. Yeah, we're going to have our face to face real estate expo next week in LA. So come over. You need to RSVP. We need to know how much coffee we have to prepare and drinks and some refreshments. Okay. So we're getting close to the top of the line. So Jean and Don, can you please give us a little bit more about any message from you? How can they contact?
Oh,
It's okay. They can contact us through Donata Land Services at gmail.com or through our Viber 0917 801 6601 or beg sa din sa'yo 0917 797 8102.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is recorded. So if you didn't get that, you can always
Or through you, as I mentioned.
yeah, through me, through me. Because Jean and Don are very busy. They're always on the road, and if I have a hotline with them, so then I can reach out to them. But yeah, you can always reach out to them, and they're very, very helpful, and they give a lot of information here. I really appreciate them. Over the years, they have been very patient with my clients, educating them on the different steps. There's a lot of difference between the real estate transaction here in the United States because we have a lot more information through the escrow company and to the title company, which we don't have in the Philippines. Hopefully, soon we will be able to digitalize all this information about our titling and how to trace the title and how to find out how we can do this extrajudicial. Okay, So next month, I'm going to be talking about the leveraging, different ways to leverage your property, like reverse mortgage, the equity line, and the 1031 exchange, all that, DST. Okay, so yeah, we're getting close to our end of the show. Here, we have our information in the chat. I hope that we can give that to our friends. Yeah. Okay. So Jean and brother Don, thank you. Thank you so much.
8102.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Take note. They are also in Viber. Virginia Lee or Jean Lee in Viber. All right. Well, thank you, Ferdy, for giving us this platform. I appreciate you and your audience. So we're looking forward to the next one next month. And next week, we're having our live Emporium Expo at the Emporium showroom. Thank you so much.